Guys, Indian IT is absolutely imploding on itself. It is evaporating. In fact, IT hiring in India is down 3% year over year. But what's shocking is that this trend is a complete reversal from what we've seen over the past 20 years. Over the past 20 years, from 2010 to 2024, IT hiring was increasing year over year, anywhere from 8% to 40%. Last year, things started to slow down, and this year, IT hiring is actually down 3%. So the question everyone's asking is this the end of Indian outsourcing? Is offshoring dead? Well, not exactly. What's happening here is that resources are being shifted, sometimes quietly, sometimes not so quietly. The resources are being shifted away from IT and into solving new problems, specifically AI integration, AI implementation. That is where the resources is going. So while IT hiring may be down, AI-specific hiring is actually up 16% year over year. And in some industries, it's even higher. And in this video, we'll even talk about some of the industries that are exploding when it comes to AI implementation. Regardless, we are in a really, really crazy time right now. We are actually not seeing a crash in tech offshoring employment. We're seeing a significant shift into what jobs are needed. And we're seeing a huge change in where budgets are being allocated. It's absolutely astounding. And guys, if you're new here to the channel, smash the subscribe button. 6 days a week, we're talking about how AI is impacting the workforce. Because the reality, guys, is that companies aren't hiring large teams of software testers, junior developers, support engineers, etc. They're hiring people that can build and manage AI systems. In case you've been living under a rock, hundreds of billions of dollars are being spent in these and creating immense amount of problems. A few weeks ago, I'll post a link to the video here, there was a company that spent $500 million on AI tokens on accident. Are you kidding me? If you know how to use AI, if you know how to implement AI, there is a huge amount of money being spent there. And if you're able to save and deploy, you become incredibly valuable. But listen, you don't just need to take my word for it. The CEO of InfoEdge, Hitesh Oberoi, he says, quote, "The divergence between AI and overall IT hiring is important because it shows where tech companies are still investing. AI is increasingly becoming a core capability area, especially as demand shifts towards more senior and specialized talent." But here's the thing, guys, there is a significant lack in experienced senior AI talent. Why? This is a completely new industry. I know AI has been around since the 80s or the 70s, whatever, but it hasn't really hit mainstream until very, very recently. And the reality is that there's just not enough top talent. That's why top talent is getting $250 million signing bonuses at companies like Meta, because there's just not enough of it. And you don't need to be the exact tippity top of the talent pool when hundreds of billions of dollars and some trillions of dollars are being spent on AI. You just need to be able to solve some problems to be valuable to that organization. Because the reality, guys, is that AI threatens the traditional labor-intensive outsourcing model that made India such a huge hub that companies were going to. You want to scale your business, you want your revenue to go up, you need to hire a bunch of people. Go to India and hire these IT firms to help build it out. That's not the model anymore, guys. That's not what's happening anymore. The new model is we want to scale up. We need to shave bureaucracy. We need to shave bloat. We need to fire Karen in HR, and we are going to double, triple, quadruple down on AI infrastructure. How do we do that? We need to hire guys that know how to implement the AI. Period. And by the way, you don't even need to be an AI specialist to have AI be important. You just need to be a human being that's breathing. If you're not deploying, I don't know. Maybe it's just me, but anytime I talk to someone, I'm like, you should be talking about AI more. You should be using AI more. What are you not doing? I was just on a YouTube consulting call a little while ago, and I was like, oh, you're talking about leadership in enterprise organizations? Why in the world? I'm looking at the past 4 months of videos, you haven't mentioned AI once. What are you doing? don't, like, you got to talk about this stuff. If you're not talking about AI, if you're not using AI, you essentially aren't going to exist in this new world. You know, I don't know what to say. It's just, sometimes I feel like I'm beating a dead horse, or I'm, you know, you might say, oh, well, AI is saturated. Like, this is what matters right now. You want to make money in this new world. If you don't understand AI, you're just not going to cut it. Let's take another example. Let's look at India's largest IT service company, Tata Consulting Services. It's a perfect example of this. They are moving toward rough parity between human workers and AI agents. Well, what does that mean? Well, it means that they're moving towards having just as many AI agents within their organization as employees. You want to get hired? Well, guess what? You're going to be competing against an AI agent right now. And by the way, these AI agents are not perfect. I don't know that they ever will be. They're going to require human beings to deploy, to manage, to create flywheels of data, to improve, to iterate. That's going to be an important part of that. And that's where India, I think, is starting to shine right now, is by shifting resources away from IT and into AI implementation. I mean, Tata, they cut 12,000 jobs last year, and they dropped their total headcount by 23,000 in fiscal 2026. They're not just streamlining and like firing people. You know, it's normal for an organization to, especially a large organization like TCS, to fire a certain percentage of their employees each year, but then they tend to, you know, hire them back. They didn't do that. They fired, and those people stayed fired, down 23,000. I thought that was a pretty shocking statistic, and it's perfectly indicative of the fact that companies are flattening their organizational structures. They're trimming layers of fat, they're flattening their structures, there's not as many layers of bloat anymore. Why? Well, because you could just have AI agents do a ton of work. We've been talking about this a lot on the channel, that this is the year where companies and enterprises stop looking at AI as tools and start looking at AI as employees, AI agents. You might say, Mark, that's crazy, you're nuts. I don't know what to tell you guys. We've been covering this day after day after day, week after week, month after month. The data is there. The CEOs are telling it right to your face. But here's the deal. It doesn't always go according to plan. In fact, just this past week, Mark Zuckerberg, the CEO at Meta, you may have heard of him, he announced to employees that the AI agent push that they have, it just hasn't gone according to plan, hasn't progressed as expected. And we actually covered a bit of this story a little bit more in detail. I'll post a link to a previous video here where he said mistakes were made. But he continued this week, and he said that the, quote, trajectory of the agentic deployment over at least the last 4 months hasn't really accelerated in the way that we expected, and that the company's bets on the new structure haven't come to fruition yet. And this at least goes to show an old adage that Bill Gates had said for years, which is that people overestimate what can happen in 1 year, but underestimate what can happen in 10, right? And the reason I bring this up, guys, is because as more and more AI gets implemented, there's going to be more and more mistakes, oopsies, problems, cyber threats. More and more of this stuff is going to pop up. What does that mean? Well, they're going to need to hire people to go and fix those problems. If a company like Meta goes through a mass hiring or mass firing, they realize, oops, the AI agents didn't go according to plan, we had problems. What do they think what are they going to do? They're going to go and they're going to hire people back in. Here's the question, be honest with yourself. If you wanted to get hired at a company like Meta, for example, or UPS, or Amazon, or wherever, and you're going to try to get a job there, do you think that they're going to ask you anything about AI? Do you think AI literacy is going to be relevant at all? Just be honest with yourself. You don't need if you have a great comment, put it in the comments below, by the way, guys, if you disagree. Put it in the comments below. I read the comments. I comment on most of them. I had 300 comments this morning to look through. I haven't gotten through all of them, but if you have a great comment, leave it below. I've pinned great comments in the past. I'll pin them in the future because I think that your voice really matters here. Really matters here. So anyway, there's problems here. They're not going to stop. If you think these companies are going to stop spending hundreds of billions of dollars on AI infrastructure and development, you're crazy. You're crazy. They are going to keep on going. And I do just want to say that just to kind of extrapolate this and give you one more important point here. It's not just about being AI savvy, it's knowing where the winning niches are, double clicking on it, because it's not just about being AI forward, it's about being AI forward in the correct niche, because there are some niches that are crashing out right now when it comes to employment, and there's some that are absolutely crushing it. So I want to look at them at least really briefly. Banking and financial service hiring is down 12% year over year. Education down 4% year over year. IT and hospitality are down 3% year over year. Banking and finance is completely cooked. Completely cooked, guys. I mean, it's kind of funny. You look at those Wolf on Wall Street guys, they're all in the poorhouse now. They're digging ditches. It's tough. It's a rough life, man. It's a rough life. You had your moment, guys. But here's where here's where people are winning. Insurance is up 16% year over year. Fast moving consumer goods up 7% year over year. Telecom 6%. Real estate up 5% year over year. What is the message, guys? It's that old problems are old problems. What are the new problems? Where can you deploy your skills? And just as a quick side note, guys, it's not just about just ditching everything you've done in the past and going all in on AI. It's not an or, it's an and. These are the skills that I've developed. This is the experience that I have. This is what I've been branded as. These are the people that I know. This is where I have receipts. This is where my resume is. And now I'm deploying and implementing AI to enhance that, to be better, to be faster. That's where the magic is, guys. It's not about like just completely shifting out of everything you have. It's about adding layers of AI into that and being public and talking about it and building up relationships and being known as the guy who's actually taking all this stuff from the past and adding AI onto that. And I know that sounds cliche, but it's table stakes at this point. And if you don't get that, it's gonna be tough. It's gonna be tough. Well, anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you didn't, like, subscribe, all that good stuff. And if you did enjoy the video, leave the comment below, as I mentioned. Check out yesterday's video where we talk about, to me, one of the biggest stories is not being talked about, which is OpenAI discussing and playing footsies with the government and asking to give the government 5% stake. What does that look like when privacy, cash, data is shared between big tech organizations and the government? We're gonna examine that in yesterday's video, so go check it out. In the meantime, make it great. Happy 4th of July. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.